Hello internet users and welcome back to another video about fan games. So when I was a kid, one of my favorite games to play was Sonic Adventure 2. And while there were definitely many things about it that I liked, one of the biggest highlights was the Chao Garden. For those unaware, the Chao Garden was a feature in the two Sonic Adventure games. Between levels, you could stop in and play with your Chao. At a glance, it didn't really seem like much, but there was actually a whole lot to it. You could bring in the items and animals you collected in the main game in order to raise their stats, have them compete in mini-games, and watch them grow into different forms based on how you treated them. They came in a wide variety of colors, and you could also breed them for even more crazier special types. I still remember the time I spent forever trying to hatch an invisible Chao. To me and many others, it was like a whole other game within another game, and in my opinion, it also provided a good incentive for clearing some of the main game's more tedious missions, as the rings you collected there could be spent on more items for the garden. Sadly though, since Sonic Adventure 2, we've never again seen Sega attempt to bring this idea back. But we can't give up hope just yet. I mean, this is the same company that made Sonic T-shirt DLC, so clearly they're not opposed to the idea of bringing back something forgotten and irrelevant. Which brings us to the topic of today's video. As we all know by now, when something beloved is left neglected like this, it's only a matter of time before the fans step in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chao Resort Island. Chao Resort Island is a Sonic fan project that attempts to recreate and expand upon the Chao Garden idea as its own game. But after so many years since we've last played with these little fellas, can a fan game really deliver on such a promise? Let's take a look and find out. The game begins with the option to select our character. You can choose from Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, or Cream. Because I like the idea of an edgy character like Shadow hanging around with adorable creatures all day, I'm gonna pick him. When you first arrive at the island, an old Chao named Professor Bunga stops you. After welcoming you to the island, he gives you access to the beach resort area. Here you start with 2 eggs. Once they hatch, you can start taking care of your new Chao. You can pet them, feed them, and also buy a few toys for them to play with. Not only that, but you can also raise their stats by competing in the Chou Games. The Chou Games are a collection of mini-games where you can earn Chou tokens, which is this game's currency. You'll still earn tokens even when your Chou loses, but of course, you'll earn the most by actually winning. The tokens can be exchanged for some items at the resort store. Here you can buy special fruit for increasing stats, toys, different colored Chou eggs, and even accessories for your Chou to wear. When you win a Chou game, you'll unlock the next level of that particular one. So you'll want to keep training your Chou in the hopes to conquer the final level. When this happens, you'll earn a new toy as a prize, which will also become available at the store. On the resort menu, you can even switch your character at any time. Based on who you're playing as, will help determine which alignment your Chou will grow into. Sonic and Cream are hero characters, Shadow is a dark character, and I'm assuming that Knuckles is neutral, as his name is marked with yellow instead of red or blue. There is also a real-time clock system that will adjust the music and atmosphere based on when you're playing the game. I'm currently playing the game in the summer, but there are noticeable differences when playing the game during other times of the year too. So far, this is all really impressive for a fan game. There is so much work put into this, and it shows. The visuals look great, from the interface to the sprites to the Animal Crossing-inspired log world. Everything seems to be put together in a thoughtful way that really makes the game stand out. It definitely has its own style and sets itself apart from other fan projects. Even the little things such as Professor Bunga looking up at you when you talk to him is a nice little touch. However, even though it makes a pretty stunning first impression, there are things about the gameplay itself that I feel need to be talked about. I hate to have to say it, but this game is pretty bare bones in its current state. When you first start, you'll quickly realize that there is more or less nothing to do in the resort. Sure, you can pet your Chou and feed your Chou, but that's really it. If you want to earn tokens to raise your Chou stats, then you're going to have to head on over to the Chou Games. And honestly, the Chou Games are pretty underwhelming too. Of course, like with the rest of Chao Resort Island, you can tell that a lot of time and effort went into each of these. Unfortunately, most of them are really just a standard race, and you're pretty much just sitting there with little input. Like I mentioned earlier, as you complete the lower levels of each one, you'll unlock a more difficult version. Clearing the 5th level will earn you a new toy, but in order to stand a chance and win all of them, you'll need to keep raising the stat that goes along with that particular minigame. The only way to raise your stats are to either feed your Chao fruits or compete in the games. Your Chow's belly fills up pretty quickly, and it won't eat anymore when it's full. so no doubt if you want to train your Chao, you have to continuously grind the low-level races over and over. Which brings us to this game's biggest problem. Everything about it is very slow, repetitive, and not very rewarding. There is so little to do here that if you want to play it for more than 10 minutes at a time, you pretty much just have to sit and watch the same thing happen over and over. Given the relaxing nature of the game, it is very clearly an experience meant to be taken in small doses. But as it is now, it just doesn't work. The list of items you start with is very small, and there isn't much you can do with them. For the toys, your Chao will probably just look at it for a few seconds and then leave it alone. There isn't any real incentive for wanting to spend so much time trying to earn more of them. And if you want to see your Chao evolve, well then you need to spend almost an hour and a half in real time in the resort area. This wouldn't be so bad if there was more to do here, but there just isn't. So I figured that I could speed up the process by just leaving the game going for a while I did something else. But you can't even get away with that, as the game pauses itself if you leave it inactive for just a little bit. And even after your Chao evolves, it's just not worth it. The game doesn't have any specialized types based on the Chao stats. They only fall into the basic hero, dark, or neutral alignment. So most of the Chao in this game end up looking exactly the same, and nothing seems to change about their behavior after evolution either. Another thing you'll unlock by spending time here is the addition of 2 more resorts. At first I was a little excited to finally have a new place to go, but those feelings were short-lived. Same fruit trees, same music, back to just waiting around for something to happen. This doesn't even cause the selection at the shop to expand either. Sure, I guess I now have more visual variety and can raise more Chao, but the magic quickly fades. And I know what some of you are thinking. A lot of these complaints I have can apply to the original Chao Garden games as well. And you're right, and also wrong. While the Chao Garden in the Sonic Adventure games was indeed slow and also had a lot of waiting around, it managed to get away with it due to the fact that it was designed as a side feature. Had your fill of playing with your Chao? Well, just head back to the main game, take on more side missions, and collect some more rings and animals to bring back to the garden. Sure, it was also repetitive and grindy, but at least I was doing something. The problem I have with Chao Resort Island is that it wants to make the Chao feature a standalone game, but doesn't expand enough upon existing ideas, or implements very much of its own to make it work that way. For as much fun as I had with the Chao Garden in Sonic Adventure 2, I knew that it wasn't without its flaws either, and unfortunately, I feel like some of those flaws are really highlighted here. And the game does have great ideas, but it doesn't really do a whole lot with them. Sure, having the visuals and weather change based on when you're playing is cool, but there's nothing else to it. As far as I can tell, there isn't any special events that occur based on when you play, and if you ask me, this feels like a bit of a missed opportunity to encourage the player to keep checking back. By the way, the only character in this game you can even talk to is Professor Bunga, and all he does is repeat the same advice over and over. Don't get me wrong here, despite my complaints, this is by no means a bad fan game. It's ambitious, knows what it's aiming for, and delivers something that you just don't see in other fan projects these days. I just feel like it leaves so much more to be desired. But the question now is, who would I recommend this game to? Honestly, it's hard to say. While it does seem really promising at first, and the music does set up some really great atmosphere, like I've been saying, you're probably going to lose interest pretty fast. After a few hours with the game, I just couldn't stand it anymore. After spending so long in the resorts and grinding the Chou games in the hopes to make anything happen, I found myself bored out of my mind. I had little to show for all my efforts aside from 2 extra rooms and a slightly bigger list of hats. I thought that I was going to end up coming back to play this every day and spend a little time with my Chou, but there's just so little content that there isn't anything to look forward to come back to. I'm sure that I haven't seen absolutely everything I can here yet, but it's pretty clear to me that it wouldn't be worth it anyway. The creator's website lists this as a completed game, and it's even received updates since it came out, but right now it just feels like a demo. Despite that though, I do honestly think that more people should know about it and at least try it. At the time of making this video, the game released a year ago in August, and it seems to have flown under most people's radar. If only it had been titled 5 Nights at Chao Resort Island, more people probably would have played it. I really wish I was joking when I say that. Even though I don't think it delivers the Chao experience that I was looking for, I'm positive that there are plenty of others out there who would get much more out of it than me. So if you're a fan of Chao or interesting fan games, I'd say give it a go for a little while, and see if it has enough for you to stick around. You can get the game for free from the creator's website. It also looks like they have some other projects going on there too, so who knows, maybe I'll end up taking a look at those one day. But anyways, I think that's gonna do it for this video. My name is Pikasprey, and thanks for watching.